Hey, everybody, welcome to What Drives Us, episode 470 for Wednesday, October 5th, 2022. My name is Russell Frost. I have the good fortune, great luck, and God, I don't even know why, to be your host for this week's adventure into advanced tech mobility and sustainable energy. I have personally assembled this amazing panel.
Avengers Assemble.
Which is Avengers Assemble. Thank you. Which is me taking credit for absolutely something I shouldn't take credit for. Let me introduce these fine individuals and we'll get this show on the road. He is the host of the Tesla Life and one of the founders of the Waterloo Regional Electric Vehicle Association, Mr. Mark Coughlin.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. And we're enjoying some really nice weather here on October, what is it, the 5th? Yeah, nice weather here.
Cool.
Nice. I always glad to see. There's no snow yet?
None.
It is
None
October after all.
It is October 5th.
There we go. Our friend from the Mid-Atlantic region, he is Mr. Supercharger, Kacey Green.
Indeed. So it's actually warmer now than it was when the sun was up.
What?
It's a whopping 61 degrees Fahrenheit.
Is that a radiation issue or something? How is that even possible?
Oh, no, it could be. Yeah.
Wow. Strangely enough. Well, our next panelist is the owner and founder of Boulder Hybrids in Boulder, Colorado. He is the man you want to have repair your electric vehicle or hybrid vehicle, Mr. Paul Guzik.
Hey. I'm back.
Yay! Paul's back. Above him on my screen is my friend in Northern California. She is a voice actor, director, writer, an activist, and an all-around star, Georgia McKenzie.
Maybe only in my own galaxy, I guess.
If it's a constellation of one, that's fine.
It is a constellation of one. Isn't that right, baby cat? Yes. Okay. That is right. Oda agrees. But I am glad to be here. Let's get this show on the road. We got a lot to cover.
We do. So, last and certainly not least, my friend in the upper left corner of America, Mr. Patrick Connor.
Hello, everyone. Let's get rolling.
Thank you so much. Well, as everyone has said, let's get this show on the road. We're going to start with Kacey Green, who has a story about a car company we're disappointed in. I think maybe that's the right way to phrase that. Kacey, tell me where I screwed up.
We've seen them do better. We know they can do better. We're talking about the folks who brought us the fine Prius, the Prius. So, they hit it out of the park. They pushed all the right buttons. They said all the right phrases, and then they, as Georgia showed us, they went all the wrong weird ways politically, and then they were dragged kicking and screaming into the EV world, and they built themselves their first mass-produced EV that didn't involve the other automaker that starts with T. But just like the other automaker that starts with T, they disappointed the stock market in the number of cars in hand from in the electric side. And they did a lot worse than the other T company with getting electric cars in people's hands because they delivered 0 BZ4Xs in Q3. So that is 3 months of no cars. Why? Because there's a recall because the wheels fall off. And that's extra disappointing because Toyota's been making cars for about 100 years. And they all use wheels. And they all
think they know how to tighten lug nuts by now.
Exactly. And you'd think they know how to fix it within 3 months, even if they got like, oh, the vendor gave us bad nuts. All right, well, vendor B can give you nuts, and and they can put them on there.
They delivered 0. What's
0.
the BZ stand for again?
Beyond 0.
That's next quarter will be Beyond 0.
Well,
realize
Patrick.
that Beyond 0 is just 1, right?
GM beat them with the Hummer at 24 the previous quarter, and come on now, and it's not that I'm pooping all over Toyota because our whole thing is zero emissions and instead we've got plug-in part-time, and then we've got hybrids, and we've got full-on gassers and tundras and stuff. But like the one like This isn't new to you guys. You've been doing it since like '97. You had your own purpose built, but it wasn't mass produced. Then you got in bed with Tesla, and you made a decent one, but didn't make it easy to repair and didn't make parts available. Then you made this, and we're like, hey, welcome back. And then no, not at all. So 0 for September. Ending the quarter ending in September. So from June to September, 0 were built, and they still haven't fixed the recall. But it gets worse. They disappointed us some more.
Oh my God! How can it get worse than 0 cars delivered?
They've taken cars from people.
Right. Well, then somebody was talking to Akito Toyota, and he went on to say that,
Akio.
Akito Toyota, and he said, let's see, where's the quote? He says,
it's not even. It's another bad Toyota quote.
It is. So basically, he's saying that I'm going to get the exact quote, though.
Towards the top, I think it's second paragraph.
Very difficult.
Very difficult. So they said that automakers, regulators, U.S. states are split over California's all-out ban of non-plug-in vehicles in 2035 is realistic. Toyota says is one of the few executives of the large automakers to speak out against the goal. He reportedly had another version of this article that had like his exact words. He was just poo-pooing all over it. It's like it's impossible. It's a pipe dream, and they won't even get close, basically. And I know you appreciate race cars, but you can still sell race cars or race cars, and then not destroy the planet with your daily commuter. Come on now. Or since you're not gonna let me saying this, get on a freaking commuter train. Yeah, how about that?
That's right.
And
EVs are just going to take longer than the media would like us to believe. He said.
That's such shit.
It's another media hoax.
Yeah.
But him saying that goes in line with those political contributions that they made that everybody ran them over the coals for. And then he continued to pimp. Yeah, exactly. Then he continued to pimp hydrogen as if it was actually going to happen, and it wasn't just a scheme.
Quit trying to make hydrogen happen, Toyota.
Don't make fetch happen. Yeah. So hydrogen for them, I understand they can make money from it because they're raking the money out of the Japanese government. It doesn't really work anywhere else for passenger cars, and unless you have a surplus of energy and a dearth of batteries, it doesn't really work anywhere else either, unless you need those 5-minute fills, and that's on soon. Like there are so many prototype batteries they're about to enter production that will get that refill time down to parity. We're talking, everybody says 3-minute fill, 5-minute fill. That's bullcrap. It's actually about 10 minutes, and once we're there, we're there. So Toyota disappointed us all around this weekend. Again.
I want to make a quick statement and then take a poll.
Okay.
Quick statement is, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that not one of the people on this show is a Toyota hater.
I love Toyota. Well, I used to.
My
I want to again.
Who here thinks that this recall is a very convenient way for Toyota not to ship any BZs?
It looks that way. Allegedly.
I see 3 hands up. I'll put mine up. 4, 5, 4.
Yeah.
Like Kacey said, they could have fixed this in a week if they had to.
Yeah.
If they wanted.
I bet you if the Corolla or Camry wheels were falling off, they would have fixed it with under a month for all millions of them they make every month.
Right. They're not making this a priority because they have they don't want it to be successful. Yeah. They have another agenda.
What is Subaru doing?
Yeah, they got hit by this as well.
Aren't they? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's
I bet you they
The question.
I bet you
Are they not selling any vehicles? Have they stopped selling as well?
I bet you Toyota has to pay them because now they're not just not selling cars, they're also missing out on their emissions credits. So that's a double fine on Subaru's part. Because remember, back in the day, Subaru raised all their cars up to truck height, so they didn't have to qualify as cars. But now they only sell trucks, so they make more emissions than they need to. So they need the help, and now they're not getting it because the wheels are falling off.
Here's the comment about Subaru, at least one line. Since the Subaru Solterra EV is essentially a twin to the Toyota BZ4X, it was similarly recalled as well, with 2,600 taken back worldwide.
And,
that's all of them.
Yeah, I was just going to say, and most of those in Japan.
There's something they're not telling us. Like there's a fault in the battery pack or something. They're blaming it on the lug nuts.
Right. Well, maybe the lug nuts is true, and then the other thing, since they already recalled it for the one, they don't have to say the other because they already told you stop driving it, stop selling it. At least that's what they're hoping.
I don't have anything. I think.
But they would seem less incompetent if they say, "Hey, we found something in the electrical system. We don't have a solution yet. We're working on it. Oh, by the way, we've got the lug nuts fixed, but since the other thing is there,
tell the truth to their customers.
Well, this is true, but I mean, like,
Yeah,
if you are like the number one volume in most fields, how confident should I be in your Tundra if I'm going to go take and haul some cars down the road or haul some trash to the dump, and I can't be sure that those wheels won't fall off, and that
normally that would be
you can't address it in 3 months.
Right.
Normally, Casey, I think that would be a very reasonable way of looking at it. Why I think it isn't is because 99.9% of Toyota's customers have never heard of the BZ and don't care about the BZ. And this isn't getting a super lot of publicity, unlike the Prius recall, unlike
those,
all of that stuff. This is really it's not hurting them.
But what cars do they sell that don't need lug nuts? I mean, if anybody else who knows anything about cars, they can see that, and they see that you haven't solved it yet, and then you have nothing on the horizon, and then you're like, "Oh, I drive a car with lug nuts from Toyota."
Should I be concerned? It's not getting the press though. Yeah, electric lug nuts are different. Yeah,
they might need a higher torque spec based on mine are 129 foot-pounds per, but still.
Yeah, I don't know. It's sad. It's sad. I was hoping the BZ might be the thin end of the wedge. Maybe Toyota was going to take a first step. And honestly, it looks like, hey, they found a great excuse and now it's just going to fade away. Oh, nobody wanted that damn car anyway.
Right. This is like your straight A student coming home with all Fs on their report card. It's like, what the hell? I know you can do better. Not even Bs.
It's just bizarre because Toyota should be leading on this. Toyota should be at the forefront. They had a big head start. What in the heck is the leadership of Toyota doing? At some point, shareholders should be asking that question because this seems like fiscal mismanagement right now.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Russell and I argued on Twitter about Toyota's future. How long can they continue to trip over their own shoelaces here and still be a viable company? And they have they have plenty of runway because they have cash, and it's not like hybrid and gas cars are going away tomorrow. But if they continue to do misstep after misstep on EVs, it's going to bite them at some point in time. The question is when.
Is Mr. Toyota going to have to leave in a box like Mr. Goen did?
Oh, I thought you.
Wow, that's
I meant escape Japan, not getting murdered.
Well, I mean, there's that saying, sometimes for science to advance, old scientists have to die, or however it goes. And that for Toyota to move forward with new leadership, he might have to retire.
He's already near retirement age.
Right. So maybe some new leadership can have a better view, and he needs to just step aside. And until he does, they're going to be on the wrong path.
I mean, what they could do that would impress Wall Street is do what Cadillac's doing, make a Lexus an all EV high-end brand, capitalize on the cachet that fancy luxury EVs are more expensive and cool, like Tesla.
Then profit because they're already seen as premium.
Yeah,
and then they'll actually be premium because they won't be rattling all down the road.
And they could go on the low end. They could resurrect Scion and make it an affordable EV and leave the Toyota the same way it is.
Toyota's all gas. Scion is 20,000 EVs, and then Lexus is 150,000 EVs.
Yeah, that's a great idea, Paul. Let's put Paul in charge of Toyota.
Yeah,
I like it. And then what's left of Toyota, you can have Prius kind of like off to the side. That way, when the gassers fall by the wayside, you don't have to kill the Toyota brand because it's old. So there you go, done.
Yeah, or make just hybrids.
Yeah.
Pretty much every car they make is available in a hybrid now.
Yeah.
I definitely support putting Paul in charge of Toyota.
Okay, I'm there. I'm on the next plane to Japan.
Awesome.
These people said I'm in charge.
Is that how it works?
I'll show up at the corporate and say, yeah, there's like 5 people in America said I'm in charge now.
Yeah,
Right. Yeah. Send them the link to this show, and boom,
Yes.
you're in.
that's it.
Okay, this sounds a lot like I can declassify things by thinking about it.
But see,
It
here's
is
the cool part. Here's the cool part.
exactly like that.
Is you can still have TRD and Mr. Toyota can tool about the racetrack and he he can make cool loud cars. And,
Casey, no, no, Casey,
No, Casey.
can't do that. Sorry, Paul.
Okay, well, let's move on from beating that dead horse, and it is definitely a deader. I mean, whatever.
Watch it resurrect.
Yeah, no, I mean,
they could.
Patrick has a story about environmentally friendly gas cars. Patrick,
That's right.
please tell us all about them.
Yeah. So if you're a longtime fan of the show, you'll remember the days when we talked about all those reports that said that the Hummer was more environmentally friendly than the Prius.
Dusted.
And-
How it is.
Yeah.
How high was he?
Yes. And this article smells a lot like those old articles about the Hummer, and it's not a pleasant scent. So first of all, a hat tip to John Volker, friend of the show. He tweeted about this and pointed out some of the fallacies of it. This article comes to us from realclearscience.com and is titled, "Could gas cars be environmentally friendly as EVs by 2030?" And I don't know what it's called. Maybe one of you can look it up. There's a saying among journalists that if there's a question in the article title, the answer is always no.
Betteridge's Law?
What is it?
I think it's Betteridge's Law.
There you go. Yeah, right. Yeah, so this one follows that law. If there's a question, the answer is no. You don't need to read the rest of it. Could gas cars be as environmentally friendly as EVs? No.
Betteridge's Law.
It's all over.
Yeah.
So this came from a team of engineers at Michigan State University. No bias there, I'm sure. And they project that the rising fuel efficiency standards for internal combustion engines in the U.S. could be lower than their greenhouse emissions could be lower than or close to EVs by 2030. This analysis was published in the Journal of Environmental Management, and they say, quote, "It should give pause to the EV-obsessed policymakers doling out lavish tax credits for the purchase of EVs and banning the sale of new ICE vehicles." Well,
delay.
This,
it's not a solution.
Yes, this study is a farce. They assume that the grid will not get any greener by 2030, and that's just ridiculous. As the grid gets greener, so do all the EVs that it powers. So that's
and every gas car you take off, that energy is now available to an EV because every gas car burns exactly as much energy, electricity-wise, as every EV because you have to refine the fuel, then you have to deliver the fuel. You have to refine the fuel for the transport truck or the train or the pipeline. So every gas vehicle burns exactly as many kilowatts as electric car does. Plus, they burn the
tailpipe emissions. Right. Yeah. So, and then they make some other assumptions that were equally ridiculous. They assume that the fuel economy averages that we've seen will continue to increase. Well, let me tell you something. Why have you been seeing these fleet averages increase? Because of the sale of more electric vehicles and plug-in hybrids in the average. So again,
you're not going to see a
ridiculous.
pickup truck with 50 miles per gallon.
Plus, it's electric.
Yeah.
Right. Yes. They also assumed that EV driving efficiency would remain unchanged for this entire time. And we know this is completely untrue. Battery energy density gets a little better every year, and this allows for lighter battery packs with the same amount of energy, which makes them easier to move around. Then you compound that.
Lasting for more miles because they better BMS systems.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. So you take these little improvements and you compound them for 7 or 8 years, and you get something pretty significant. And it's not just batteries.
Coal plants. We're shutting down the coal plants, so already the grid is getting greener today.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and so batteries are going to get better. Motors, motor controllers, power electronics, heat pumps, aerodynamics, tire rolling resistance. All of these are going to have improvements over the rest of this decade. So
only 2 of them use heat pumps today, right? 2 manufacturers, Nissan and the other T.
Heat pumps are not common in EVs, and they will be definitely. Because they're more efficient. Yeah. And so I'm sorry, the internal combustion engine has had over 100 years to improve. And today, speaking of the Hummer EV, it gets 47 mpge, better than most gas cars. So
9,000 pounds.
Right. Electricity is the clear winner. What's the saying? There are lies, damn lies, and statistics. So this just proves that if you begin with a conclusion in mind, you cherry pick your data, you're willing to ignore any inconvenient facts, you can support any assertion you want.
Yeah.
There you go.
I bet
I just had to rant.
I bet a 5,000 pound Hummer EV would actually be a pretty decent performer. It wouldn't have the same range.
Still be a stupid waste of resources.
Oh, I agree, but I think it would get like maybe somewhere like 50 to 60 miles per gallon equivalent.
So as it turns out, Real Clear Science is part of the Real Clear Media Group. The Real Clear Media Group was launched 30 years ago by an advertising exec and an options trader who saw a niche open for, wait for it, a more conservative point of view.
Are these the people who were trying to like get us against recycling and a couple other things like that?
If it's a conservative cause that they can collect some ad money on, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, it was them.
Yeah,
So-
I think they also do Real Clear Politics, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Well, the lying comes naturally. It's like breathing.
well, the problem is
Yes.
that we rely too much on a buzzword or a hook or a lingo to convey to us what something is about and whether or not we're for it. And that's
But
why
like
they
you
can
said,
create.
even if we are for it, they can co-opt it.
They
Go- sorry, go
co-opt
ahead.
the language and they make it into
Mhm.
something else. So,
Mhm.
when we have the Clean Air Act and it would reduce regulations on industries to create more dirty air, well, because they can just slap it. Everything is bizarro world in conservative government land and conservative land where it will have the opposite effect. Why? Shut up. That's why. I mean, you've got a
That's a
whole
good
party
reason.
built on abuse and misinformation because everybody and I beg your pardon to those of you of this strain of progressive to Democrat side who are like, well, if we just explained it, honey, there's nothing to explain. They like being mean and awful to people. It's not about anything that's a policy. There's a pretty good article in the Puck newsletter, and I recommend John Storr's editorial board to everyone. Everybody on Twitter has seen me recommend them. Very excellent in analysis and writing, right up there with Vox in my book. Well worth your New York Times subscription money. An unsolicited plug. And but they consistently have written articles where they have to keep explaining to the smart people on our side here that no, it's not about policy. So good policy is not what moves them. What moves them is making people mad, hurting people, stomping your foot down and being an alpha male in a way that's actually been debunked by all that alpha male crap that they think that they're scientifically using. So they don't care about policy. They care about hurting people. And if you hurt people and even better, if you hurt people and people find out you're a hypocrite in what you're saying and do versus what you've done, it's better. It makes you more attractive to them. Somebody described it, modern conservatism, as a long drawn out tantrum against other people telling you what to do.
Truth.
So, and that's what it is. So I'm never surprised by this kind of stuff. It is surprisingly unsurprising because sometimes my eyebrows still go up and go, really, this works for you? And it's like, yeah. Like you see your old boyfriend and you kind of feel, maybe I was a little too harsh in keeping that person out of my life. Oh, wait, there you are talking. Oh, you're talking again. That's so sad. Now I remember why. Okay, Bluck. We're back to why we left you.
Yeah.
And that's how it is.
I was learning about how Mr. Ford was blocking the commuter rail and metro in Toronto, and same stuff. Like everybody explained to him, hey, this doesn't take a lane, it doesn't tear up the street, and he's like, oh, it tears up the street, I'm blocking it. It's like,
no, it doesn't. It could literally float through the air on angel farts, and it would not get past because
it hurts somebody.
Cares?
If he blocks it,
it hurts the people that my people don't like.
Right.
So if it keeps the pores out of, I mean, I've watched I've watched well-off neighborhoods block all the public transportation. That would make it easier for them to get the people into their neighborhoods to handle all those icky tasks they don't want to do, like raising their kids. God forbid you make it easier for the people who work for you to arrive. Healthcare for your workers. You know why? Because sick people are actually cheaper to have on. You can train them. They're happier. The work quality is better. But no, you know why? Because secretly, you write off your employees as a loss, even though they're the ones who make you the money, and you sit there acting as if somehow the fairies would have come around and done this work and made you a profit. When if you just had a decent workforce and you retained them, things go a lot smoother. That's just all it is. It's a necessary part of doing business. Never think of it as a loss. But hey, make it hard on them. And I don't know why that works, but I'm once again, it's like surprisingly unsurprised, where it's like, I really wish you could just shock me and actually accept, something good on the whole that would benefit society, and actually even just do it the selfish way. Be a Ferengi. I don't care. You don't have to like anybody, but just sit back and go, oh yeah, public transportation works for me.
Yeah.
Well,
yes.
If I may.
I agree, Bruce. I agree.
But either way, I remember reading that and just thinking, wow, are we back to like windmills will cause confusion in birds or whatnot, that kind of stuff?
It's gonna blow the earth off its axis.
It was worse than that. Like you get the windmill cancer, and it kills the birds. Despite the fact that there's no such thing as windmill cancer, and if you paint one of the blades a contrasting color, the birds can see it.
I got nothing.
I
got nothing except a fly.
But a narcotic.
Yeah, that's why I had a gnat come through here. Like, what?
Yeah.
All I got is
Patrick. Oh, I'm sorry. Well, Patrick, thank you for that. It's always fun debunking something that is utterly bullshit. It's low-hanging fruit, I guess, but there it is. And thank you for remembering the CNW dust-to-dust surveys from like 05, 06, 07, 08. Oh, my God, that was so bad. Our next story, we're going to go to Georgia, who has a good story, a happy story about something fun.
Yay. Yay. Yay.
Yay.
Hey, look, you like the two wheels, right? You kids with your crazy two wheels. You ride them. You go off into the woods. You enjoy bouncing on the two wheels in the woods. What if you had the electric ones? You're in luck. Yamaha has 2 new e-bikes meant for mountain biking. So this is the Yamaha YDX Moro line of electric mountain bikes, and I don't know, I'm pretty excited for it, even though I have no idea how to ride a bike. But I keep thinking that one day, much like learning how to do a cartwheel, I will actually learn how to ride a bicycle. But I'm getting old now, and I might die before I do that. But let's pretend that I'm going to stick to that plan. So this is the YDX Moro. It is the what do they call it? The eye-catching dual twin frame, split frame setup with the top tube and the down tube and the latest mid-drive motor at the time, the Yamaha PWX2. Now this is the newer PWX3. It's going to be an elite package of efficiency. It's got higher torque, more advanced component technology, whatever. This just means you're just going to have a cool brand new electric mountain bike that can do an assist of up to 20 miles per hour. And it's going to be a class 1 e-bike designation in the US. Now, they show it just going up the hills and over tree boles and all kinds of fun, cool, athletic stuff. But maybe if you're like me, maybe at a beginning level, you might want to just stick to kind of a flat road through the mountains with training wheels. And it's going to be priced at $5,799.99, which I actually think isn't too steep for an e-bike, that for one of this quality. But you have to let me know, Russell, because you're bigger on that one than I would be.
That's high. It's not crazy. but that's definitely at the very premium end of that. I mean, this had better be some pretty outstanding performance for that price. Let's put it that way.
They are saying that.
I was looking at them on the web. It looks like a pretty nice machine. And the other thing about e-bikes is you don't need registration, you don't need insurance, you don't need all the crap that comes with a car, and yet you can go in a lot of places a car can go. So,
oh yeah, I mean,
unless you live in Minnesota,
it's like a lot. Well, why? What's wrong with Minnesota?
Place where all the speed limits are 50.
What?
Or some place where all the speed limits are 50, since they're speed limited if you don't hack them.
I'd probably ride it and get arrested. But hey, all I can say is this looks like a fun new way to use e-bikes. Now, I guess this would be tangentially, I would wonder, but just follow all the rules for your area when it comes to riding off-road. A lot of natural habitats get destroyed by people who are just tearing through them willy-nilly. Let's keep the willy-nilly on an approved trail. But other than that, this looks like a spectacular new form of assisted bike that honestly, if you've been avoiding doing something like that, you'd like to do it, but maybe you've had problems. Maybe you just can't do as much as you used to on a standard bike. An assist bike like this is great for helping people to get out and enjoy nature and enjoy getting some extra exercise and seeing what's out there and maybe appreciating it just because of that. So I think this is a pretty good idea.
And the 5,700 I think is list price. I just found a website, ebikes 508.
Oh,
For 4,500. So dealer may sell for less.
Yeah. I think the only other thing I would add is that these are power assist bikes. They're not throttle e-bikes. The less popular configuration of e-bikes are power assist. In other words, you're more of a hardcore bicyclist, whereas the throttle e-bikes are super popular with everybody because all you do is push a button and the bike goes.
But some jurisdictions, those are illegal.
Oh, really?
I think New York City, you can't have just throttle bikes.
Interesting.
Or
Probably.
it depends on some bike paths. It has to be pedal assist versus throttle, but throttles are allowed in other the roads. Or
how many tickets are being written?
Right. Yes.
Yeah, of all the things that New York cops are thinking about, I strongly doubt they're going, oh, hey. Is that a throttle assist?
Yeah.
Bang.
Yeah.
Oh, they're
Well,
horrible.
they do that naturally. They give that one away. Bullets
Oh,
would
okay.
be in New York.
That's also the reason why mopeds for the longest time had pedals on them as well.
Right. So they could be bicycles with power assist.
Yeah.
Sure they are.
Yeah, I mean, I just have delusions of like coolness sometimes where I'm just like, yeah, I want to get a bike. I'm going to be in a bike with a helmet and whatnot and ride it around.
Get your leather jacket on.
Well, I have the leather jacket. That was easy. That was the easiest part of being cool. I do have the leather jacket now. It's just every time I go on the bike, I have a problem with the gravity that I don't have a center. I have a left and a right, and I can fall either direction. But the staying upright, that one I don't handle very well.
Oh,
They keep telling me you go forward, and somehow or another magic happens, and you stay forward. Right there with the psychic powers or any radiation mutations that are cool and beneficial from hugging my laptop to my NAD since I was 10. It's has not happened at this point, and I've given up. But hope springs eternal. I'll probably get back on a bike. Maybe on one of those. Again, training wheels, please put them in there.
there you go. Well, thank you for that. It's good to see more electric options, and this seems like a great option for the hardcore mountain biker. So right on with that. Speaking of hardcore, Paul has a really wonderful story about one of the things that I loathe.
Yeah, this isn't directly related to alternative transportation, but kind of, sort of.
It is
Basically,
totally legit.
Our fabulous governor in Colorado signed a bill, I guess it's now law, for consumer rights against towing companies, especially predatory tow companies that do what's called non-consensual towing, which is a term I'd never heard of. But basically, you
Steal your car.
complex, and they tow your car for whatever reason, and then they hold your car hostage, and you've got to pay a shit ton of money to get your car back from these towing companies. So some of the highlights in the law are things like they can't tow your car for at least 24 hours if it's illegally parked. If you happen to come out and they're hooking up, right, in other states and in previously in Colorado, they say, "Oh, I'm sorry, we're taking it to the yard unless you give me $100 right now to drop it down." Well, now if you catch them, they have to drop it down for free and go away.
Nice. Nice. I like this.
So no non-consensual hookups, huh?
Well, they
already hooked you. You just got to get it back.
No kickbacks to property owners. So, for example, towing companies go to apartment condo complex, says, "Hey, we'll give you like 20% of the tow revenue for letting us patrol your lot." So that's good.
Cops too. They're real quick to turn you in because they get a kickback.
And they would tow for things that aren't really applicable. For example, if you had expired tags on private property, the tow company would tow you because you had. Now they say unless law enforcement first writes a ticket, they can't tow you for that. Let's see, they have to post all their prices online. The prices are reviewed by the Public Utilities Commission. If they are screwing the consumer, they could lose their license to tow. And one of the really good ones is if your car does end up at the tow impound yard, they have to release it with 15% of the bill, and you sign an IOU. So previously, or in the old days, your car got towed. Wow. They might say, "Oh, Mr. Customer, it's $900 to get your car back, and if you don't pay us, it's $75 a day until you can pay us." And many consumers have to just say, "Keep the car, I'm done," and the tow company ends up getting the car for free. So now you can show up with, $87 or whatever.
Well, maximum 60.
Sorry, $60, and they have to give you your car back, which for a low-income person is great because now you can go get to work,
pay it off,
live your life, and all that. So big score for consumers. It's going to piss off the tow companies, but they kind of deserve it. There's a lot of great tow guys out there that rescue people when they're broken down or in an accident, but there are a lot of these predatory companies. So I don't know if other states are doing it. Obviously, I'm in Colorado, so it was news here. I'd be interested to see if it's happening in other states or other states follow this rule. But it's a great program for the consumer.
Hey, people, let us know because, especially as we've noted, rents and everything go up. A lot of times people are living in their cars. That's often a situation that is ripe for abuse for tow companies.
Absolutely.
And when they tow them away, not only do they take the place to live, that's often where important papers are kept.
And another thing, if your car does get impounded and you don't have the $60 to get it out, they have to let you into the yard to get your possessions out of the car.
Yes.
So you have your cell phone charger or your clothes or whatever.
ID. When we do sweeps here in California, a big issue for the homeless unhoused is that they often lose important paperwork like birth certificates, mementos, and licenses, non-driving licenses, which means they can't vote and they are legally able to vote. And it's their help to be able to register for benefits and get day work because many people do work. Yep. So that is a huge win for consumers and a huge win for all of the people of California and in Colorado. Brilliant. I'd love to see this happen.
Other states copy the rules and get some, legitimacy to the towing industry.
The only thing that disappointed me in this was they didn't set an exception for that 24 hours like they do for fire parking.
So if you're blocking a fire lane or a handicap space, they'll tow you right away.
Right, but they didn't say EV spaces with those two. So that's my only disappointment.
And I like them taking photographs.
Yes.
Prior to because
a lot
too
of
often
have been doing that just to CYA already, and it's great. We had a car actually towed into our shop, and the lady accused us of breaking her taillight. And I said, look, lady, the car came in like that. She said, oh, no, I know my car. It was fine. You guys broke it. And
Oh,
he
God.
had it towed. I called the tow company. I said, hey, did you guys take pictures before you hooked this car up? And he says, absolutely. And, of course, the taillight was broken before they even put it on the tow truck. So she called back and said, I'm so sorry. I didn't even know that. And then it's like, well, why'd you blame us, lady? So
Yeah. Because I wanted free taillight.
But you know,
Probably the
digital
kid.
film is cheap. So take 100 pictures. And if your car is getting towed, before the tow company gets there, walk around, take a video of it.
Yeah, do that. We had a club member whose Model 3 got the rocker panels got like this big strap mark against them in a dent, and on the part of the rocker panel that's made of steel, and it's structural steel. So now instead of just a simple plastic or rubber repair, it now has to go to the body shop to get a structural member taken off, new one welded on, painted, sanded, all that stuff. So
Paul, it sounds like you should start doing the same thing when something arrives on a tow truck before they take it off.
Yeah.
So you have video evidence of how it arrived.
Yep,
just walk around it with a 360 camera and then call it a day.
Yep.
I have to wonder what happened to the tow lobby in Colorado. How did they allow this to happen?
You know, we've got a pretty progressive governor, and I guess he's had his car towed or something. And
Wow.
I'm gonna quote Willie Brown on this, and this is probably the one time I will quote Willie Brown. But if you can't be taken to dinner, take their money, and then vote against them, you have no business in politics. That's a paraphrase of what he said, but it is true. Let them lobby the hell out of you. They can throw all the money they want, they can take you everywhere, and they can hand you every single bit of swag in the book. But if you can't look at it and eventually go, yeah, my constituents ain't gonna go for this, vote against it. Yeah. What are you doing in politics?
Especially the ones that do it for like $50 or $100. It's like,
yeah,
what?
You cheap ass hoe. I mean, a real hoe knows how to milk a car.
Work it, yeah.
Jeez, get paid. I got real respect for sex workers.
I mean, if you gave them $10,000 and they sold their soul, I was like, that's not a lot of money, but I can understand it. Cheap? But $50? You sold me out for $50.
Right? It's too cheap. Don't even have it. I shouldn't even call them a hoe.
But this will allow the tow people to do good things, like tow you when your car breaks down, tow you out of the ditch, tow you to the repair shop. You know,
help you unlock your car when you lock your car, your keys in the car at the gym.
Right.
Or get that guy who's been parked in your space for 2 days, then they can get him out.
Yeah.
And hopefully,
I just say, and being in the repair shop, we deal with a lot of towing people, and 90% of them are great people, very helpful.
Yeah.
Customers tip them even. But it's these guys that go around with contracts on shopping centers, condo complexes. They're the guys that give the industry a bad name.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And hopefully it'll put those corrupt bastards out of business.
That's true. And just a quick note for those of you who might be saying, that sounds awesome. How do I do this in my area? Oh, you know what? The link is in the show notes. Download the bill. Take that bill to a state legislator. Like, write a letter and write to your representative in your state legislature.
You don't have to do anything. You just have to copy and paste Colorado's.
You know,
just in Colorado. You don't have to do any work.
But yes, you write a physical paper, print it out, write a physical paper, physical letter, mail it, and fax it, and say, this is a law I think we should have on the books. This is from Colorado, and I'm including the text of it right here. Do that.
And they can just copy and paste it into their proposal, and then they can be a hero.
It really is that simple. That is how Freedom Works manages to get legislation on the books in multiple red and purpley states when Republicans are in control. They basically take a law that they've developed in their think tank, and they go to the state legislators, and the state legislators copy the text of the legislature. All they change is who it is and where it's going to apply to, and then on to the next group. That's how it goes. So
it's funny that legislators don't like to actually write legislation.
They actually don't. I mean,
truth.
If you hand it on a platter, right?
They actually don't. I have watched legislation being written, and Lord help us all. I've never recovered, as you can see. But it takes a long time. But mostly what they tend to do is get the text of what they want into a document. They submit that to their legal teams, and then the lawyers come back, because there are specific government lawyers that work with legislators. Either at the state level, they're usually on staff, city level, they're usually subcontracting out to government law firms that handle this. And then they come back and they write the text of the bill. Then that is read through, adjustments are made by your legislators, and then they approve the final. And then it goes, either if it's something that has to be voted on by the public, then it's decided to be put into either a referendum vote, usually tacked on to any upcoming election if there is something coming up soon, or they hold a special vote. And this will blow up in their face because people won't pay any attention, and then come back later on and say, we didn't hear about it. Yeah, there you go. And that's your ballot. And or they approve it and it becomes law, and that's how it goes. So yeah, they actually don't. And you are completely correct, because even if you're a lawyer serving, you don't write the text of the bill, because there's like 17,000 different varieties of law, and more than likely you're a tort lawyer, you're not a government lawyer.
There you go. Well, thank you for that. And Georgia, that is brilliant. Take this text, send it to your legislatures to go, why aren't we doing this? Challenge them. Give them the the law and go, it happened in Colorado. It can happen here.
Or go to your local TV news and say, hey, this is a good thing. Why don't we have it in our state?
Yeah. And they can't even say, oh, well, it's going to hurt our tow people, because they left them plenty of opportunity to make good, respectable money.
And that people are thankful for.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Unlocking your car when your key's locked inside.
Well, speaking of grassroots activism, let's talk about National Drive Electric Week. And actually, I'm not going to talk about it. Mark is going to talk about it, because he has some stuff that Mark has done.
Yeah, we got together with a bunch of volunteers here in the Kitchener-Waterloo area this past Saturday, and we held a National Drive Electric Week event. Where we invited many people with electric vehicles, all sorts of different electric vehicles, bicycles, motorcycles, cars, trucks, to come out. We had over 75 EVs registered for the event, and we had, in our estimation, over 200 people come out and visit the actual static displays that we had at a local shopping mall here in Waterloo region.
Was it Tepperman's?
It was not Tepperman.
Oh, no.
No, it was a different location. So I thought I would just share a couple of photos of what happened on that Saturday. And we'll go ahead here and share the screen.
There we go. And boom, you're up.
Very good. So here's a shot of a few electric bicycles that had come out to share the day with us. This was an interesting one. It was a cargo bicycle. It's the first one I've seen in person with the big storage bay up front. But that was kind of cool. So we had a bicycle group out with us. And we had the local bylaw enforcement group with their Zero motorcycles from the city of Kitchener. They came out to show their bikes, how they drive on trails and sneak up on people that shouldn't be out on trails with motorized vehicles. So that was kind of cool.
Those are all zeros, aren't they?
Yep. They're all
Interesting.
zeros. And we had the half-ton pickups come out. The F Ford 150 showed up in mass. You could see there's 4 of them that actually showed up. And a couple of these people just got their trucks that week. So they were happy to come out and show their power frunks. In fact, one of the Ford owners, the last one in the line, which you can't really see, he was actually brought a table with him, and he had to set up the actual card table, and then he brought a bunch of appliances with him. So he had a fridge, he had a crock pot, he had a coffee maker, all plugged into the frunk of his vehicle, and he was serving chili throughout the event.
The ultimate tailgate machine.
That's cool.
We coined the term frunk-gating now.
That's right. That's right.
Lightning,
So that-
lightning.
So that was kind of cool that he was able to actually do some tailgating at the event. So that was fun to see. And And then we had this photo of a Model X that was towing an Airstream trailer.
Oh, nice.
Because, of course, a lot of people think that EVs can't tow, and that's completely false. Kacey knows this as well. But this was a great display that had a lot of people interested about how you could, in this case, glamp at a place to do camping in. So that was kind of cool.
Pretty cool Airstream.
They also tend to think that you can't keep your range at a reasonable level, but it's only because they're trying to tow at 79 miles an hour, which is not advisable even with a gas car. It's not legal in California.
So it was a great day. The weather couldn't have been more perfect. Just a little blue sky, a couple of clouds out there. We had a Model 3 that was converted for a police car. So an outfitter had come out to the show and showed off his police build, which was kind of cool. And we had, like I said, we had a whole bunch of people. We had some tents set up, some people selling, electrical contractor. Of course, the city of Kitchener, the city of Waterloo was out. Bylaw enforcement. Some of them use electric vehicles for building permits. City of Waterloo does that, so that was kind of fun to see. And we all had a really good time. It was a fun day, and had a lot of great questions from the people there asking exhibitors. And of course, we felt the best thing to do is that is if you can answer the questions with the person that actually owns a car in the region that you're in, makes it a lot simpler for someone to take that leap of faith and look into an EV after hearing a neighbor, someone that's in the region that actually has lived with an electric car for a number of years in the area that you live in. So we found that that's really powerful, allowing people to ask the questions they want and being able to answer those questions without being a dealer or trying to sell them something. You're just giving them information based on your experience, and that's a really powerful thing when it comes to someone making a decision about whether or not they're going to change to an electric vehicle.
Right, because you can't trust the dealer. They're going to say,
"Oh yeah,
you want to hear."
Right.
It's really like to own the car.
Yeah.
Mark, this electric stuff seems great, but it won't work where I live. You live next door to you live next door to me, Bob. oh, okay then.
Yeah, where I live, it snows, and it just won't work in snow. And it's like, come on! I've had an electric car now for 7 years. Like, there's no issue with snow. Never has been, never will be. But you get those great conversations going where people have something in their head that they've never had an answer to yet. Like, what happens to the batteries when you have to replace them after 3 years? And you're saying, well, you don't have to replace the battery after 3 years. This battery will probably outlive the usefulness of this car. So
but you're going to get electrocuted when you plug it in the winter.
That's right. You can't charge when it's raining outside. Like all those things.
They show you a picture of the supercharger with the flood.
Like that because they've never had somebody that's owned an electric vehicle that has been able to explain their experience to them. And this gave the public the ability to ask those type of questions and to be answered by not just one, but many different people that own many different models of electric vehicles. And it's a great community outreach, and it allows people to get straight answers from people that have the experience and knowledge.
Very cool. It's also nice to see Lightnings are actually shipping like in some kind of quantity. So.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, Mark, number one, thank you for doing that. I appreciate you and everybody at WREVA for taking that on. I mean, this is, as you said, that kind of grassroots sort of, I hate to use the word activism because there's negative connotations in it, but it's outreach. It's grassroots outreach that doesn't involve making a buck. It just involves saying, hey, here's my experience. Does it work for you? Great.
Yeah.
Let's go to our next story. We're going to go back to Georgia, who has a good solar story. I'm hoping. Is it a good solar story, Georgia?
Wow. Tell me
I know.
you didn't even scan.
I ate it on that
Okay,
one.
no,
I'll
it's
admit
okay.
it. No, you know what?
I'm just disappointed.
As disappointed as I am in Toyota.
For those of you on the radio, Russell hung his head in vlogging shame. He muted himself and his camera. So we're going to one of my favorite Science Daily, which if you are a nerd, you should poke your head into from time to time because there's so much fascinating stuff going on. Hey, what if we could use solar power? Well, generate solar power 24/7. Not just use it 24/7, because Patrick has, all those batteries. He knows about living 24/7 off the grid. You could do that right now. We don't have to wait. But what if we could do a new type of solar energy harvesting that will break the efficiency record for everything that currently exists right now? It means generating solar power 24/7. Well, University of Houston professor, forgive my inability to say your name properly, Boltzau, who is the Kacey Assistant Professor of Mechanical Engineering, and his doctoral student, Sina Jafari Galakone, in the Journal of Physical Review Applied. They are working on improving traditional solar thermophotovoltaics to create a more efficient one. The so many long words. The non-reciprocal solar thermophotovoltaics will reach what they call the Landsberg limit, which is 93.3%, the ultimate efficiency limit for solar energy harvesting. And with this improved efficiency, we're talking improved compactness and dispatchability, which is what they call electricity that can be programmed on demand based on market needs. So remember that story in Stanford about how we were charging wrong based on grid usage? This would change that whole story around, because these improved solar thermal photovoltaics, I'm getting it, there would be no need for that, because it would improve the way that they can deliver energy. So, coupled with economical thermal energy unit storage, that would generate electricity 24/7. So, I can't wait to see the commercial application, because the one great thing about Science Daily is that you got a lot of people talking about great advancements. I'd probably wait, 5, 10, 15, could be 20 years before we really see it. Now, although, let's be honest, with the assist of computers, we pretty much do it in leaps and bounds. But I think that's pretty good news on the front. There's a lot coming that could be great.
So these are hybrid cells. They are photovoltaic during the day and then thermal voltaic every other moment or simultaneously.
Yeah, so this was talking about thermal photovoltaics, right? So this is not your typical PV panels that you have on your roof. This is
right.
Only heat. Okay.
Yeah, it's heat. So that's how you get solar at night, right? You heat something up during the day, then you harvest that energy overnight. And there was a site called Solar One that was trying to do this in the Mojave, and but the project got canceled. But that this is how you can take one of the big problems with solar is that, sun doesn't shine at night. How's this going to work? Well, okay, here's a method to make that work at night. And so yeah, we definitely need more of these ideas. This looks like they could have increased their efficiency of this method by about 8%, which is great. So more research in this area is a good thing. At first, when I was reading it, I was thinking, look, so during this show, the sun went down, and at the end, it's just making this little trickle of power. And I was like, if they could improve the efficiency in low light conditions, but that's not what this was. I misunderstood the article. It took me it was dense, definitely. So I had to read through it a couple times to grok it.
Yeah, but that's the fun part.
Yeah.
But you did. And honestly, I mean, I think it just says that if we apply our minds and our efforts to the problem of energy, we can do this. We can come up with great, efficient solutions. The potential is there. I mean, think about that. We moved from 85.3 to 93.3. I mean, and just that, and it seems like such a small jump, that black body limit of 85.4. And we move up to 93.3. In numerical terms, it's just a little bit of an increase, but the increase in efficiency, the increase in capability of power generation is huge for us. And I think we can do that. But once again, commercial application, not right now. Not right now.
But something to be developed and used later on, which is a good thing.
That's right.
Absolutely. Well, that's gonna run us up against our time limit for this week. So we are going to do some shout outs and go home. And I'm going to say, before I forget, since Georgia was kind enough, thank you, Patrick, for show titles. Since Georgia was kind enough to remind me, we are not going to be here next week. We're taking a week off because I'm going to be in the Sierras. So there you go. Let's start with Paul.
Hey, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And if any of you are in Colorado and don't get your car towed, unless you tow it to my shop because it needs repair work, come check us out at boulderhc.com. And still don't have any hybrid for sale. So, although actually I do have one coming soon. We got it's not a barn find, it's a garage find. It was a 2005 Prius with 31,000 miles on it.
Wow.
It's been sitting in a garage for 5 years. We did put in a brand new hybrid battery. So anyone wants a near new Gen 2 Prius, hit me up. It's really nice shape.
Kacey, you can't trade your baby for an 05 Prius, okay? Don't. That was poor timing on your part, sir. And I'm going to call you on it. In fact, I'm going to say, yeah, there you go. Well, you're babied up and you're ready. What's going on with you, my friend?
So on Sundays over at youtube.com/Kacey Green, KACEYGREEN, you can catch a live stream at 1:10 and 1:10 Eastern, and we talk about all the stuff we like, as well as I'm working on a tutorial video that will probably be ready in November on some nerdy stuff.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for that. Do follow Kacey. Check out his channel, youtube.com/Kacey Green. Thank you. It's spelled just the way it is on the screen, okay? I don't have to spell it out for you, do I? I don't. Mark Coughlin, talk to me.
I wanted to ask anyone that's still watching this video to give us a thumbs up at this point. Press that subscribe button if you haven't already. Help us out. That gets us some more eyeballs in front of us. And Kacey, keep that baby quiet, for goodness sake.
Yeah. What?
The ratings might go up. Stop that.
Man, what are you doing?
Babies are great. In fact, we should pretty much just put a baby picture in the.
There you go. There you go.
I got nothing. I'm not going to say anything bad about the baby. Are you kidding me? No.
See, look at
that.
that.
What does that say? Made on what?
On Earth.
Made by humans.
Oh, nice.
Aww.
Oh, look. Oh, wow.
It kind of matches. It kind of matches my shirt.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Wait a second. Wait. Are we discovering? Oh, wow. How does that even work? How is that possible? Oh my God, Patrick! I don't think I'm going to sleep tonight.
I've looked at a lot of chess, but that was something. Okay, on to the next shot.
I don't even know where the hell. Mark, were you done?
I'm done. I can't follow that up.
Yeah,
everybody's done.
I agree. Well, Patrick, you got to follow that up.
All righty. Hello, everybody. I am with the Oregon Electric Vehicle Association. You can find us at oeva.org, and I blog occasionally at carswithcords.net. I've got a couple of new posts up there. Go check them out.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
Thank you so much. And do visit carswithcords.net. Georgia, bring us home.
All right. You've been here for 1 hour and 4 minutes. Come on.
Oh my God.
Hit that like, hit that subscribe button if you see my tongue is broken from all those big words. Hit that like and subscribe. Every like you do tells the algorithm that, hey, this is a pretty cool show. People might want to check out. And subscribing, I don't know, it boosts our ego and it boosts your ego. Go on ahead and do it. It's a mutual love fest because we love you in a very platonic way from a distance. So while you're at it, very consensually, we are a consensus-based group. And while you're at it, done over here, need some more content, just want to sit back, chill, and relax, go on ahead. Head over to the Tesla Life. Mark's got all your stuff covered on Teslas. He's got EVs. He's got more on his day out with all those EVs. And you can take a look at all the videos and photos that he has collected. Hit like and subscribe over there at the Tesla Life. And you want to have some breakdowns or some technical stuff because Kacey is covering all the DLCs. He's working with his Tesla, teaching his daughter to work the Tesla because she's going to take over that company one day. And we know it. It's just her world and we're living in it. So hit like and subscribe to suck up to your new master now. That's what you should do. Always be closing on that. And if you want to have some more information, you want to talk in depth about solar, living with solar, putting together your solar, and also EVs and sustainability, carswithcords.net, where you can read Patrick's writing and maybe even get into a fight with him because I guess that's an activity people like to do. Go on ahead, fight on the internet. Do it. You like it. That's what you're going to do in the comments, especially Russell. And if you just so happen to be shopping for a car because yours got towed in Colorado, that is why you want to visit Paul. He's got at least one vehicle. Get it now before it goes away. The last time it took, 7 months before you got a car? Which means, but the good thing about buying it from Paul, it's well cared for, and you know where to go and get it taken care of. That's right. Thank you for hanging out with us.
There you go.
I'm going to bounce it back to Russell.
Thank you so much, Georgia. As always, I want to thank Michael Manring for our theme music. Visit him at manthing.com. I want to thank Georgia McKenzie, Kacey Green, Paul Guzik, Patrick Connor, and Mark Coughlin for an amazing show. I want to thank everybody in the chat room tonight for being there. And all of you, of course, watching and or listening. You're the reason we do the show every week. Thank you so much. Tune in next week and find out. No, don't tune in next week. We're going to skip a week. Tune in 2 weeks and find out what drives us. Thank you, Kacey's baby.
Bye, baby.
Stay positive. Test negative.